Well, okay. You're being a little bit of a Debbie Downer here. Right?
How should I deal with negative people? It's a good question because you asked it. And here is our answer. Do you know someone who always knows the worst possible scenario? Do they focus on flaws and shortcomings? Do they speak in absolutes like,
I'm never gonna get to be a best man.
or,
See, it always happens. Every time
Oh, don't jump off a building. We're just talking.
do they have a pessimistic attitude towards life? Do they sometimes use humor or sarcasm to cover up their negativity?
And I'm only bringing this up because you asked me to, but you are putting a very negative spin on this situation. Oh, wow.
Negative behavior can be found in both believers and unbelievers. We all get that way sometimes. But when we confront someone, our hearts should be motivated by listening in love and concern for that person, never revenge, anger, or shaming.
Something inside me made me want to try.
But before we get on a mission to, quote, correct someone, the Bible tells us to do a heart check on ourselves.
Man, you're so negative all the time. I don't like it, all right? I'm trying to think.
If you've been hurt in the past by a negative person, ask God to release you from that pain. If you're holding on to bitterness, you cannot be effective in helping someone. In fact, any person with a negative attitude is still made in the image of God. So resist labeling them as a downer or a hater, because that's not all that defines them. As Jesus illustrated so well, we must remove the plank from our own eye before we should even attempt to remove a splinter from somebody else's eye. If we're negative ourselves or guilty of feeding into the friend's negativity, then that is hypocritical. So take care of your own heart so you can humbly and effectively care for others.
I didn't know you were a Christian, Ludwig.
If the negative person is a Christian, then we can go to Jesus' teaching in Matthew. First, respectfully and privately speak to them about their sin, just between the two of you. If that doesn't work, then take a couple of mutual friends with you to discuss it so you have witnesses to the conversation. Then if that still doesn't work, encourage them to seek help from their pastor or other church members. And if they don't attend church, it's still important to get some, quote, upper management involved, like your own pastor or trusted parent or family member. The Israelites displayed a negative attitude in Numbers 11, and their pessimism made God incredibly angry. When a Christian friend practices habitual negativity, we have a responsibility to lovingly confront them about it. Whoever turns the sinner from the error of their way will save them from death and cover over a multitude of sins.
Now, Billy Joe, that just ain't no Christian attitude. I mean...
That's your privilege.
Let it be a discussion, not a lecture. Try to understand where their negativity is coming from, and you may just uncover the deeper source.
I'm not a Christian.
When dealing with a negative unbeliever, we take a different approach. Make sure that your relationship with the person is one of honesty and kindness. They should see you as a trusted friend from whom they can take loving advice. Also, keep in mind that what may work for one person may not work for another, and your advice may be rejected.
I hate you.
Since a non-Christian doesn't necessarily abide by biblical morals or standards, we shouldn't spend time pointing out sin. Appeal to other areas of their lives, such as their relationships or environments, and gently explain how their negativity is unhealthy in those areas.
Another lecture from the old man.
Again, let it be a discussion, not a lecture. If the moment is right, you may even be able to share the gospel with them.
Hey, God, give me the strength.
Ask God to give you strength and wisdom to help your friend with negative behavior. Ask Him to open their eyes to the truth. Your pastor, counselor, or another trusted Christian adult could provide additional advice or even maybe a game plan. To be clear, though, we are absolutely not suggesting gossip.
You better check yourself before you wreck yourself.
The bottom line here, if your friend rejects you or your efforts to help, it's okay. Your responsibility is to speak and act in love. But if you feel personally threatened or attacked, the next best step may be to keep your distance from that person out of respect. Dealing with negative people can be very hard, but God can help you help them. That is the answer to the question, how should I deal with negative people? Make sure to thumbs up, bell, and
be nice to somebody today.